All right, I think this is actually the first podcast my guy TK and I coming through.
You are absolutely correct, man. I had to show love, It's the Mad Good family, so I wanted to join you on the podcast here.
It's about time. The Mad Quick Thoughts, Mad Good Thoughts, whatever the hell we call this thing.
This is still a work in progress, guys, so we haven't quite decided on what we're going to name these things, but whatever we do is going to be kick-ass.
All right. I think we're all pretty excited. More than excited. Delighted. We have hope. We got a future.
Absolutely. About damn time, I mean, the Knicks fan base should be nothing but excited. And I know the Summer League is very,
it's very
overhyped.
You think so? You think it's overhyped?
Yeah, it's easy to get very excited and it's easy to get very down on players. But, the Knicks drafted a couple of guys who I think are worthy of being thrilled about.
Oh, hands down. Of course, we have to talk about Kevin Knox. And then the second round gem, the steal of the draft, I'm calling it already, Mitchell Robinson.
Well, that would be nothing new, man. We called that a couple weeks ago, I mean, there's nothing new, Mitch.
But to see him have the highest PER in all of the Summer League.
Not just the highest PER, but he's averaged 4.0 blocks per game, and that's the highest in all of Summer Leagues. So, I mean, this kid is a lethal weapon, as I like to call it.
Yeah, no, hands down. No association to Danny Glover, though.
No association.
They look nothing alike. No. But yeah, no, I mean, going back to Kevin Knox, for example, 4 games. They went, what was it? 1 and 3?
1 and 3.
1 and 3 in the Summer League. But
not impressive. Not impressive.
No, but I mean, we saw flashes, though, from respective players.
We did.
That, I mean, it was a beautiful sight to see. Kevin Knox, we saw him average 32 minutes, 21 points. Let that sink in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because these, I understand it's the Summer League, but these are still the future pros of tomorrow, who they're going up against.
It's funny, because you mentioned the 21 points, and I think, on our Instagram, Mad Good Knicks Show, we received several comments, especially after the first game. The first game, he scored 22 points. And, we received several comments, oh, don't get too hyped, don't get too excited. It's just one game he's playing against,
How can you not get excited, though, especially in Knicks Nation?
People who aren't going to be in the NBA, this and that or whatever. And it's like, I don't know, man. You got to understand, talent translates on any level, whether it be high school, college, NBA or professional overseas. If you have the talent, the talent will showcase and will be there. And I think Kevin Knox has the talent. I know Kevin Knox has the talent. I mean, it's very clear at this point.
I mean, he was playing very, very comfortably out there. He didn't look like he was shaken up or anything of that nature.
Right out the gate, he looked comfortable.
He looked incredibly poised out there.
If I'm not mistaken,
he didn't force anything much, except maybe the fourth game. He was forcing a little bit, but
yeah, he towards the third game when the Celtics kind of locked him up, you could tell he had some dead legs. But let me ask you this, because you and I did our research on Kevin Knox prior to the draft, right? Leading up to the draft, you and I were watching videos. We were going through sound bites, tapes, and footage, and all sorts of stuff. Now, even you and I thought that he would be a project.
Yes. Hands down, yes.
I can only speak for myself here, but I am blown away with how NBA ready he looks already.
Yeah. I'm taken aback. I am comfortably already thinking about him, KP out there, Mitchell Robinson at the same time. Dude, we have so much length on the court. We had a recent Wingspan post that was produced by Steph and Pete for us, and showcasing that it's honestly, it's like welcome not only to the Garden, but welcome to the freak show, welcome to the circus.
You're right. And if you guys haven't checked out our post on the Wingspan, make sure you go check that out. It's on our Instagram, Mad Good Knicks Show, of course. And yeah,
constant plugs
constant plugs, man. We're gonna be on all platforms. You gotta throw this out there. You never know where the Mad Good Knicks Show might end up. the Mad Good Knicks Show, guys, just so you know. But yeah, I think we were blown away. And it's funny because a lot of draft experts that are so-called experts were saying that, oh, don't worry, Mikal Bridges is the most NBA ready. He is the most, due to his age and his experience. He's won 2 NCAA championships, so on and so forth. He will be the most NBA ready. Yeah, that's great and all, but here comes this 18-year-old kid out of Kentucky. Like, I haven't won anything, and I played, a handful of games in college, and I'm still NBA ready. And I think that took the league by storm. I think people are taking notice. Even I believe you posted Doris Burke, her comments.
Doris was preaching.
Doris was on it, right? Well, what did she say about Kevin Knox?
I mean, just the fact that she's excited for the Knicks, because she's an actual Knicks fan, and she feels as if there's something to look forward to. So I'm amazed by the management. I am on board with the timeline of everything that we're currently doing. The constant moves that we saw management do, even during a season that essentially was nothing for us after KP went down, and they still were making moves for someone like Troy Williams, which he played amazingly well in Summer League as well. Making choices like picking up Allonzo Trier. He was the second leading scorer on our team in the Summer League, 17 points, 45% from the field goal, and I have to say his handle is pretty ridiculous. He shook a few people up, and I want to see people skate at the Garden. That's what I want to see.
We're bringing back the ice skates. We're bringing a nice little layer of ice on the hardwood floor.
Hardwood floor. People gonna be skating out here. Whee!
Rangers logo up there. You know what's funny that you mentioned that. Trier and his scoring ability. There's no doubt about it that this kid can flat out score. He's had a couple of mishaps in college, and which led to maybe him potentially not being drafted and whatever. But this kid is a baller, and the Knicks absolutely got a steal when they picked him up as an undrafted rookie free agent, as they like to call it. And let me tell you something. For majority of the games, he was playing out of position. The Knicks lost Frank Ntilikina, and they forced Allonzo Trier to be point guard. It's incredible to me. The way he was able to adapt. I know he didn't have a handful of assists. I think
it was only 3 a game, essentially 3.3 compared to
3. The first game he had 4.
I know 5 a game.
People were ripping him the second game because he didn't pass the ball. He had 0 assists the second game, but then he came back with 3. So like you said, he was averaging 3.3. Nothing crazy, but at times, he did show that he could be an off guard ball handler. Not the primary ball handler, but he can make things happen.
I mean, it's pretty much the case where you have to be multifaceted, especially how we're playing the game right now. That's why you have so many bigs that are doing guard-like motions and things like that on the floor. But I mean, with all this said, and we have a lot of things to look forward to, how do you think they're actually going to fit in with a major roster, the finalized roster, which I think we have a decent idea of, because we're not going to make any more I think many moves, if any, left for the rest of the season, because we're obviously more so playing for 2019. Jimmy Butler, I see you. You did not sign the extension.
Kyrie, holla at your boy. I've heard you've been talking about New York for the longest. We look forward to potentially having those guys, but for the time being right now, man, to be honest, I see them fitting in quite nicely. The beauty of it is none of these guys really project to be projects as we initially thought. So they should see burn, pretty soon into the season to start the season off. We may see these guys getting, I know Knox should be starting for sure.
Hell yes, Knox
he should be getting 30 minutes a game.
If Knox ain't starting, something's wrong out here.
But my biggest fear about Knox is just that he's going to wear down. His body isn't physically fit for the NBA game right now, so he may get worn down easily.
I think the kid is so young. He's going to be so excited. Testosterone should be shooting through the roof. I think the kid is going to have like a endless amount of energy. I think he's going to bring a certain youth to the team and a certain type of aggressiveness, just because of how focused he seems to be in the game. And out the gate, he's like, I want to win Rookie of the Year. That's the type of shit I want to hear. That's what I'm talking about. Talk that talk.
Talk that talk. Walk that walk, boy.
Walk that walk.
We see you out here, Kevin Knox.
Walking like I talk it.
Cue Drizzy's verse. I love all that, and I agree with you. But there's just a little bit of concern with
what? Get it off your chest.
It's just a little bit of concern with a little bit of concern with his legs, man. I just don't know if he can hold up a full 82 games. You know how it is, just as a rookie, they hit the rookie wall and stuff like that. But besides all of that, the rookie that I am most looking forward to seeing is my man Money Mitch. Money Mitch is, this kid's incredible. To take a year off, the last time we saw him play organized basketball was in high school, right? Yeah. He took a year off to work on his game. Let me not fail to mention that he did get a chance to work out with Anthony Davis several times, who I can see a future comparison in the works of Anthony Davis, and we'll get into more of that a little. No worries. Do your thing. I know you're tired. It's been a long day.
Guys, we're gonna cut something probably up next season about all these past seasons already where I yawn on air, and it's an inside joke at the moment, but I think you guys will probably get a kick out of it. I tend to yawn, I think, a little bit too much, but before we digress,
we'll show a clip of Jay yawning all the damn time. As you guys know, if you watch the show, Mad Good Nick Show, Jay yawns all the damn time. Aimless plug. I'm just shooting up a storm here. Bam, bam, bam. But back to Mitchell Robinson, man.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. I think it is absolutely a complete disrespect that fans, so-called experts, continuously make this comparison of Clint Capella. I think that's just absolutely disgusting. Really? No offense to Clint Capella, none.
I mean, that guy, I think he's a solid. He plays his heart out, man.
No, he's a great, solid role player. But I think that's his potential. Is a role player. He's maxed out at what he's capable of doing. I don't think he's a franchise-altering player, whereas I see Mitchell Robinson as a potential franchise-altering player. He has that skill set and those assets to his ability. So something that I just want to drop to a couple Knicks fans, because I know this name will hit home, but I see a young Marcus Camby. I just want to make that comparison. Marcus Camby could run like a deer, get up and down the floor, block shots like no other, rebound, get putbacks. He was tough, but he had a slight frame. He had a slight build.
Yeah, he was injury prone.
Did you really just end my
catch?
That was very anticlimactic of you, Jay. I just want to throw that out there.
Especially out of college, he was looked at as a new era type of center because he was pushing the ball, if anything.
Yeah. And I think Mitchell Robinson looks just like that.
I don't know, man. I think Mitch, no offense, man, I think there's a certain lankiness and posture that I think he needs to take care of first before I think he's personally pushing up the ball. Because I think even with Frank, if you notice at times, I think
we're gonna drop a whole segment on Frank.
A specimen due to his wingspan and also his height. But I think even at times you can see there's a little bit of an awkwardness with motion when he's even just handling the ball regularly, not even doing anything fancy with the dribble.
Frank's issues, he's too upright when he dribbles the ball. I understand he's 6'5" and he's got, or 6'6" at this point, and he's got a 7-foot wingspan, but
still growing.
But he needs to get lower to the ground, the center of gravity.
Exactly. Man. I agree with you. We recently saw a video of KP trading, and KP was incredibly low to the ground. So I'm just like, if you got the guy that's 7'3", arguably the tallest player in the league, that low to the ground, Frank, you the point guard.
Yeah, it's true. Step it up, bro.
Get to it, bro.
We'll get to Frank because I think I think there's a lot of misconceptions about Frank and how fast he was supposed to develop and what we expected. I think we also fell victim to.
Yo, TK, hold on real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off. So as we're recording this podcast, we are also on Instagram Live. Yep. And someone right now was just like, TK, where's the beard?
Oh, man. So, well, first things first, I'm glad you guys recognize me without the beard. Surprise, guys. It's still me.
It's still him.
The beard's growing back. If we can get a little close up on the beard, there's a little 5 o'clock shadow there. Shout out to you, JSR 357. You still recognize me. I salute you. Thank you. I appreciate it. The beer will be back soon, ladies and gentlemen.
Shout out to Mr. GQ for still being alive while watching our episode.
Yo, Mr. GQ, man, appreciate you watching our episodes while you're driving through the traffic, man. We appreciate the stop and go.
But as we continue talking Knicks here on this Mad Good Knicks Show podcast,
Frank Ntilikina, man. Frank Ntilikina. I think a lot of us fell victim to how fast he was going to develop, right? You know, more often than not, we see on Instagram and social media platforms players working out, players training, players lifting weights and developing and stuff like that.
Because I'm sorry.
It is very misleading. It is. And I think, Jay, we need to take a step back. As observers, as fans, as the youth, we need to take a step back and realize that there's a process to this. Yes. The kid is still 19 years old. I think we all expected him to come out in Summer League and just completely dominate. He was going to just night and day. He was going to be aggressive, dropping 20 buckets, 10 assists. He was just going to come out and kill it. We didn't see that, Jay. How did you give me an assessment of his game? What you saw in the 2 games he played?
I was hurt in the sense of what I saw on Instagram, what I've seen. I just don't see it necessarily translate in a dominating way.
Right.
And for me, it's like, for you to already have 1 year under the league, in the league, and to play in Summer League, I think you should have a certain dominance over everyone that you're playing. Similar to when we played the Hawks, John Collins looked like he was dominating out there. And that's the type of dominance I was looking for from Frank, at least the type of way to control the game. And I felt underwhelmed. Everything that I saw from Frank was just still underwhelming. I think at times he's still too slow to cut. He still wasn't finishing in the post. And I just don't want to sound too negative on the kid because I get it. He has such a future still ahead of him. But I don't necessarily have great things to say. I still know the upside is there, but I want to see more right now. And it's tough.
It is very tough. And let me piggyback on that because, I go through this struggle every single day. I wake up and I'm like, I want to be Anakin. I want to be Anakin when he was a good kid following, the Jedi way, and I should. And then I see Frank's performance and I'm like, Anakin with the lightsaber, slaughtering the kids in the Jedi, training center. I'm like leaning towards the dark side, like rip them apart, tear them a new one. Frank, man, his game is going to elevate when he really works on his post game. We saw several times, and shout out to our boy Chris Brickley, man. Shout out to him, the trainer of the century, man. He is really putting in the work, getting these players fit, back into game shape and elevating their games, most importantly. We saw Frank working out with Chris, and he was doing this turnaround post game thing. I think that's Frank's next evolution besides his ball handling. If he can get little point guards, I say, in the post, and just abuse them with that turnaround bank shot, turnaround step back jumper that he had, whatever he was working on, man. If he can get that down and make it effective and his signature go-to move, he would be lethal. But it starts with his ball handling, like you said, man.
Yeah, and just the decisiveness of already knowing what he wants to do.
Right.
I think he still always just wants to pass, and that's not a bad thing until it becomes a bad thing. I think there's come certain times and certain points in the game that I understand he's still learning the feel of the game, but there's going to be points in the game where you have to take that shot where then instead, you fake and then pass it to someone else. You have to learn that pace of the game, and that, I guess he's still picking that up. I can't judge him for that.
Right.
But I want to see that decisiveness of I already know what I want to do, and I'm baiting you as a me being the offensive player and you defending me. I'm baiting you into certain positioning on the hardwood for me because I already know the play that I'm pulling off. Makes sense?
100%. But I really think that starts with ball handling, man. The more control you have over the ball, the more you have control over the defender. You can dictate where you want the defender to go and how to beat him and get to the basket, get to your spots. Yeah. Frank doesn't have spots on the court that he likes to get to. More often than not, we see him dribbling up the court. The defender will slide over, step slide laterally, and stop his dribble. Yeah. Frank will pick up his dribble instantly. He won't even get to the 3-point line sometimes before he picks up his dribble. And that's a huge issue. So his ball handling must improve before the jump shot, before the post game, before anything. I just need to see Frank's ball handling improve. He has the court vision.
Your ball handling.
Frank, dude, we met last year, man. You said you were fans of the show. Bro, we're talking to you as friends and family, dog. We love your game, man. Just step up.
This is an intervention, Frank. If you haven't realized this, Frank, this is an intervention to try to get you to handle the ball better.
Yeah, no hate, man. He's 19 years old. It will come. No rush, bro, but you know what you need to work on.
So, expectations. First year from our new draft selections. Ooh. What are you thinking? I mean, I'm seeing some of these numbers from Kevin Knox. I personally don't think he's going to average that for the season. I mean, anything is possible. And when you're drinking Henny, anything is possible. Thank you, JR. Shut the fuck up, Siri. All right? We don't need Siri. We don't need Alexa up in here. You speak when spoken to. Anyways, Kevin Knox. Oh my God, woman.
See, you called her, man.
My
you called
God, her. Woman. So Kevin Knox, he did 21 points for the Summer League. I am expecting to see.
What do you expect to see, Jay?
I'm calling 15.8 points per game.
Ooh.
I think he's going to do 39% from the field goal, 37% from three. I see
37% is pretty damn high, man.
I think we're going to find him some open spots. And if anything, speaking on the decisiveness, what I see Frank lack, I saw Kevin Knox handle actually pretty well. There was a point in time he was a few feet away from the 3-point line, and he already knew when he passed the ball out, it was essentially a give and go. He got the ball back. He was shooting that shot. Immediately, he centered his feet, motioned, everything was beautiful, took that shot, went in, did not hesitate. And that's what we need. We need people that aren't going to hesitate. So again, 15.8 points per game. I think 39% from the field goal, 37% from three. And I see six rebounds a game, maybe 2 assists.
See, that's where I have to disagree with you on the rebounds, man. I'm not sure if on the NBA level he'll average 6 rebounds right out the gate. But really quick, I'm on our Instagram right now, the Mad Good Knicks Show, and I just want to shout out a couple of our fans because on one of our posts we asked them to fill in the blank on how many points Kevin Knox will average. And I see here, 13.5, 16.9, 17, 16, 12.5, 18, and so on. I think the biggest factor in how much he'll average is obviously how long KP is out for. I think that is essential to his game because I wouldn't be surprised, man, to be honest with you, if he's the number one go-to scorer on some nights. Tim Hardaway, we know him to be inconsistent. Yes. And as much as he would like to be the number one scorer, I think he's a number 2, number 3 scorer. So he may chuck up a lot of shots this season. I hope he's more consistent. I love Tim Hardaway, man. His game could be so much better than it is, but I digress. So Kevin Knox, man, he could get maybe about 18 to 25 shots a game if KP is not around.
Yeah, he's carrying pretty much
a hefty load, which is scary for an 18-year-old. Yeah. That's why I'm hoping Tim can step it up a little bit. But
I think Tim will, unless he's injured. That's the only way.
I mean, dude, consistency with Tim, that's always his thing.
For our sake.
But Kevin Knox, I can see him averaging about 16.5 to 17 to 18 points. And I'm basing that off of what Jason Tatum did last year. But Jason Tatum wasn't the first option or the second option. I believe him and Jaylen Brown averaged about the same. And as we know, Kyrie Irving was the primary scorer on that team.
It's going to be interesting to see Gordon Hayward come back for them. But this isn't the Celtics show.
Yeah, this isn't the Mad Good Celtics show. There's no such thing. And don't think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't think about it. But yeah, Kevin Knox is going to have more opportunities to score. So I'm basing it off of that. He may have, 16.5 up to upwards of 17.
I think the success of our rookies is going to be dependent on who is going to start at point guard for us. I think they're going to have a huge effect. I think Frank is going to be our starting point guard.
Okay.
I kind of think that, really. But I kind of want to vouch more for Trey Burke. I think Trey Burke has that aggressiveness to him, and he has an understanding of the game where he hasn't really panned out. Maybe how he may have envisioned himself, or how he was even hyped out of college.
Yeah,
as a lottery pick, exactly. And he's still incredibly young. So I think he had some monster games for the Knicks. When Knicks fans this past season didn't have anything really to root for, we were rooting for Trey Burke with some of those monster games, looking like Allen Iverson in his prime.
My man, Trey Burke.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be interesting. Again, depending who we have starting at the game for us to be able to ease our rookies. And I think even though Trey Burke hasn't seen the most success in the association, he brings the experience. Whereas Frank lacks that experience. And trust me, I understand Coach Fizdale's point of view as well, where it's like, this is the time for the rookies to play. Throw them out there. Let them learn how to swim. But at the same time, it's not simply about developing. It's about developing correctly, right, and putting people in the seat to win, in the seat to, ride safely. Whatever analogy you want to.
We'll get back to you on an analogy, but I understand what you're saying. Madgoodknick Show. Aimless plug. No, you're absolutely right, man. And I think Fizdale made this very clear with his, with his mantra.
Yeah.
It's like you keep what you kill, right?
Which was fierce. I love that.
Oh, I love that. I mean, if there was ever a mantra you could ride a season to, you keep what you kill, ladies and gentlemen. And I think what he was trying to say was, if you kill your role, if you kill your job, you're going to keep your spot. And it's as clear as that. So I think with this three-headed monster at point guard that we have, Frank Ntilikina, Trey Burke, and Emmanuel Mudiay, whom we're not giving a lot of credit to here, but I think they're going to battle it out in training camp. And I think the best of the bunch will be the starter. I don't think he's leaning towards any which way, but I do think whoever comes out on top of that will be the starter. And it's funny because we're not giving much credit here to Emmanuel Mudiay. Granted, we haven't seen many workout videos from him, but he's got to be motivated. He's got to be motivated, especially after Jeff Hornacek treated him. He threw him out there, kind of like, looked like a chicken with his head cut off. Yeah, and then Fizdale came in like, listen, Mudiay, you have a skill set, a serious skill set. We're going to get you right, and, we're going to help you finish at the basket, which he has trouble doing. He has trouble shooting. We're going to get you right. So don't be shocked if Emmanuel Mudiay looks better than we expected, because we already kind of seen a glimpse of Frank Ntilikina. Yeah. And so his progression hasn't been where we thought it would be. So we're I'm resting on Trey Burke or Emmanuel Mudiay to step up. Now I think now is his time, bro. It really is. You saw what Frank Ntilikina was doing out there. You were there at Summer League. You didn't play, but you were watching. You saw that, in this spot, he was getting rattled, his handle, this and that. So you know what you need to pick up and do. I think he needs to go in guns blazing in training camp like, okay, I'm going to earn this starting spot. I'm going to take it. I'm going to make it mine. Because granted, we are rooting for him, but I don't think anyone expects Emmanuel Mudiay to start the season at point guard.
Nope.
So I think now would be his time. But whoever comes out of training camp raising the sword, I think is going to be the starter.
Yo, I think we need to conclude this because we got to save some topics for the episodes themselves. This is just a little filler, little taster for you guys.
Stay tuned to the next episode. You'll be able to catch this podcast on IGTV, IG Live, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. Holla at your boy. This has been TK. That's Jay. Much love. Madgoodknick Show, baby. Chopped cheese for dinner. You already know that's what we're going to have to do after this. I'll catch you guys later.